I want to ask Zeenat Shaukat Ali, as the Director General of the World Institute of Islamic Studies, for dialogue, what you think the Taliban's likely interpretation of the Sharia is going to be. To say that, we'll go by the Sharia sounds very vague because it's not codified. There are 50 countries in the world which use some form of Sharia law, 8 of which are fully Sharia compliant, or where criminal and personal law is supposedly based on the Sharia. These include Saudi Arabia, Iran, Brunei, Afghanistan, Indonesia, Sudan, Pakistan, Nigeria and Qatar. Zeenat Shaukat Ali, what do you think the Taliban's interpretation of the Sharia is going to be?
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for inviting me to your show. The first thing that I'd like to say, looking at the track record of what the Taliban have been doing in the past, and I think, you see, the Sharia that they are talking about actually does not relate to Islam at all. Now, for example, if you say do not allow girls to go to school, or you do not allow girls to hold a position in politics, or you do not allow women to have an equal part in the social structure of a country, then how can you say that you're following Islamic law at all? Because the Sharia gives you all those permissions. As has been pointed out, the main source of the Sharia is the Quran. Then the second source is what you call the primary source, is the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad. And then you have various other means, like there is qiyas, which is analogy, there is istisan, which is juristic preference, there is istidlal, which is logic or reason, and there is ijtihad. Ijtihad is creative reinterpretation. Now, I want you to go back into the penal laws of Islam, as has been pointed out by Maulana Maududi himself. He said that it's a big misnomer to say that there has been no changes, or Islamic law has not undergone a process of evolution. Because if you look at the penal laws of Islam, they have been changed, because the actual law is that there is a punishment allotted for a certain crime, a punishment X. But as time goes on, the punishment changes. The punishment can change, but the crime itself remains, but the punishment can change. Here you have the Taliban stoning women. You have them, sexually abusing women. You have them, looking down upon women, and women not participating in any actual activity. There's a governor, I believe, who has gone, who has disappeared and who's been looked for after the Taliban have come over. Now, this entire procedure does not belong to what I believe pure Sharia. Sharia means following, being just, giving balance, giving equilibrium to a society, and giving rights to its citizens. Now, for example, I would say that what Afghanistan needs, it must emerge as a model state that respects legitimate rights and freedom, upholds the cluster of the Charter of the United Nations, and respects international law. If they do not do this, then I do not know whether they're going to be acceptable, in the large world scenario. Now, that is something that the United Nations has to decide. But what I'm simply trying to point out, that you see this entire concept of Sharia, as I have studied it, in various countries. Now, you look at the Maghrebi countries, for example, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, their family law itself have undergone tremendous amount of evolution. It doesn't mean that they're not following Sharia. It means that they are following Sharia. But as time goes on, they are